Good afternoon. Is everyone ready? Great. I'm Kim Ogg, Harris County District Attorney. Welcome. I am joined today by my public corruption team led by General Counsel Barbara Armstrong. Also, our First Assistant Chief of Courts, David Mitchum, Texas Ranger Ryan Christian, and my public corruption prosecution team. As I have said before, people hate public corruption, and nothing is more crucial to a democracy than the public's trust in their government. That begins with ensuring financial responsibility by your public officials. And we have an array of laws in Texas designed to keep the procurement process in government honest and even and fair. And we do that because in the procurement process with government, tax dollars are being spent to provide a service for the taxpayer. And the quality of service, the amount of service, the type of service matters to the public. And when they don't get their full measure because the process has been averted or someone has cheated during the process, then the public themselves are cheated out of whatever service the money was intended for. In this instance, money intended for COVID recovery, known as the American Rescue Plan, was money obtained from taxpayers, funneled by the federal government to Harris County. But instead of it being spent truly for the greater good through a fair bidding process, Barbie Robinson is charged today as the former Harris County Public Health Director with funneling approximately $30 million to a hand-picked beneficiary, IBM. Now, when taxpayers are treated like suckers by somebody who sneaks around a well-established procurement process, it can be criminal. And in this instance, the misuse of official information by Ms. Robinson is charged as a third-degree felony, meaning that crime is punishable by 2 to 10 years in the penitentiary and up to a $10,000 fine. The investigation into Ms. Robinson began after she was fired by the county administrator here in Harris County. And that was over some conflicting contracts and perhaps statements that were made to the county administrator. We don't have access to those records. What we can tell you is that upon Ms. Robinson's appointment to public health, she immediately began drawing on a business relationship with IBM, a company that she had been involved with in Sonoma Valley, California, and that had spearheaded a program out there for her called Access Health. That program was intended by our commissioners to be replicated here. And Ms. Robinson appears to have selected IBM early, before the process even purchasing division, headed by Dwight Dopsloff at the time. This contract was not allowed to be a sole source unbid contract. It was put up for request for proposals, known as RFP. Ms. Robinson, however, shared information she is charged with IBM prior to the issuance of that RFP. This is cheating. IBM became much more informed than any other competitor, giving them a tremendous advantage at what is nearly a $30 million contract. Now, the contract was dispensed in different ways. It began with a $45,000 expenditure for a, quote, garage think tank type meeting with IBM and members here of the Public Health Department and others. That was in 2021. In 2022, the Commissioners Court passed $7.7 million expenditure to benefit IBM. Now, what was IBM to do in this access program, and what is this? Well, it's a continuum of services concept where those who have been treated by Harris County as patients who have come through our jail, as somebody who has received any kind of service from the county, their information is now being compiled into a database and software support program designed by IBM to compile that information. Much of it is confidential. It's unclear what all is done with this information, who all has access to it, but we know that it is a tremendous amount of information on individuals served by Harris County. We know that according to their own website, they have served approximately 1,200 people. I think that number's been taken down, but for $30 million, it renders the cost of the program to about $19,000 per person who has been attributed to use the program. We don't know the identity of these people. We don't know what services have been provided. We just know that there was a tremendous investment by the Public Health Department with IBM to build this information sharing database. The services to be provided, many are already provided by Harris County: CPS services, probation services, health department, hospital services. So we're unclear what services are actually being provided, but we know that just the software program alone was almost $30 million. You know, while there are many questions about the access program that our prosecutors are learning as this investigation continues, what we are certain about is that the lawful procurement process was diverted. We know that by passing information that Ms. Robinson was able to acquire only through her job as the public health director, by giving that information to IBM early, it gave them the winning advantage over all other competitors. Second closest competitor in that award process having bid $2.2 million, not nearly 30. We know that Ms. Robinson only sat on 2 RFP committees during her tenure as the public health director. They were for this contract and the DEMA contract. And before we get to questions on DEMA, what I will remind everyone is that this is an ongoing investigation. We also know that there were many things that could have been done for our Harris County residents for almost $30 million. And I think the public is left to question what value did they receive from the access program implemented here in Harris County by Ms. Robinson. What specific improvements were made to the situation that many of us faced in COVID? How were Harris County residents actually helped? Were they helped? What we do know is that IBM was helped, and that $30 million goes a long way, and that the process that should have been followed was not, and that we will continue to look at this and other contracts issued by Harris County to let the public know that our district attorney's office is watching. Why are we watching? We're watching out for you. We believe that your trust in our government is critical to our democracy and our freedom. And that's why our prosecutors worked so hard and so long on these cases. I want to thank the Texas Rangers and the Department of Public Safety. Every time we need an independent, thorough investigation, we call upon the Rangers, and they deliver. And Ryan Christian has been here before. He will be here again. They, too, are watching out for Harris County residents. You know, there's a lot that can be said about doing business with the government. When companies have that opportunity, it's very important to us that they have a level playing field. We're against discrimination of any type for any person or company who wants to do business with Harris County. And likewise, we're against anybody or any company having an unfair advantage to access taxpayer money. That's what happened. There'll be more from us to come, and we look forward to your questions.
So by saying more to come, can we expect more charges in this case, or are there additional investigations into corruption?
There's always additional investigations into corruption because we get complaints at all times, but I will tell you that this investigation is not finished, this particular investigation.
Did your investigation uncover any way in which she might have benefited from this? It doesn't seem clear in the charging document.
Great question. Misuse of official information as a crime doesn't require the defendant to actually benefit. But I will tell you that it's certainly part of the ongoing investigation to see if she did. The crime here is that there was value, great value to that information. Just like we know about cases, you know, we don't have contracts to let, but people want to know what we know because it could benefit or harm a party. And that's the position she was in. She gave that information up. She gave it early. She gave it to a preferred friend, a hand-picked company, and that's against the law.
Do you plan on involving the AG's office in this case like you did with the Hidalgo staffers to limit any interference from the next DA?
It is an ongoing investigation, and those decisions remain to be made.
Can you explain how this charge was brought? Because yesterday the county judge put out a statement saying that it went to a grand jury and it's easy for your office to obtain, quote, false indictments. I understand that that information was inaccurate. This didn't go to a grand jury. Can you just explain the basics of how this came about?
Yes, and perhaps you can explain them to the county judge. In Harris County, we have two options. A person can be directly charged by the district attorney if the law and the facts support it. A person can be indicted by a grand jury prior to charges, and if somebody is charged with a felony, they must be indicted for the case to progress once they're charged. So in this case, we have utilized the grand jury's assistance in gathering evidence, but the charges were brought directly. And Ms. Robinson will have a chance to face off at a grand jury should her lawyers decide that's the best decision for her.
What is your take when it comes to a series of tweets from County Judge Hidalgo saying that this is an attack against Ms. Robinson, like the previous staff members?
We're not in high school, and our cases aren't based on opinions. They are based on evidence. The evidence reflects actions taken by government officials which violate the law. And so the opinions of politically elected individuals are irrelevant to the criminal process.
She's still not in custody?
No.
Do you guys know where she's at?
I don't. Well, I think the Rangers have a beat on that, and I believe that we're going to be working with Ms. Robinson's attorney.
Who is her attorney?
I don't know who that is right now, but I imagine that we'll be contacted. Have we been contacted?
We have not officially, no one has signed up as the attorney of record as yet.
And so until they do, we don't release it. We don't talk with them.
And when you say more to come, are you saying more potentially for her or additional suspects as well?
It's unknown right now. This investigation really is fairly new. We were in the midst of an investigation about a different company and a different contract. And Ms. Robinson was fired by the county administrator. There was some concern about why she was fired, and a review of the evidence revealed things to us that we didn't know about Ms. Robinson, but that the county administrator may have known.
Have you had a chance to interview her or talk to her about this?
No, our public corruption division has not, although we did reach out to her, did we not? Yeah.
Are you able to elaborate a little bit more about what maybe kind of
You know, most people don't think that from August to November is a quick turnaround. In the criminal justice system, it actually is. You all know from other investigations, but when the evidence exists, especially at a superficial level where you know, a basic review of the facts and evidence reveals law violations, then it moves quickly.
So was it her firing that brought this to your office's attention, or did someone from the county contact you with concern?
We were in the midst of a different investigation of DEMA, who is one of the subcontractors along with IBM. That create these startup programs here in Harris County. And the firing drew our attention to Ms. Robinson, and the rest was basically a review of existing evidence that our prosecutors and the Rangers obtained. Ranger reviews everything. They work with our prosecutors. It's determined if any law violations have occurred. And then we have the option to take it to a grand jury or to file charges. In this instance, we filed charges. We thought that was the most prudent thing to do.
And have you guys found anything about where that money could have or should have actually gone if it didn't go to this IBM contract?
We know that the next bidder bid $2.2 million. And so the savings to Harris County could have been tremendous. Where could COVID money have gone? It could have gone to actual health services. It could have gone to public safety. It could have gone to mitigate some of the damage that our residents suffered through COVID. That's what it was intended for, and we hope that it's returned to the people. All right, thank you all very much.